Hey, what is this?
Xenia's word on the street.
Well, hello, Xenia, and Happy New Year. I'm your host, Josh Long, and this is the Xenia Word on the Street podcast dedicated to our community's news, events, and views. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. I took some time off. That is the reason for no podcast last week, but we're back at it today. And before we dive into this week's topic, just want to say what a great holiday season we had in the Xenia area. The Christmas lights displays across town were well attended. Matter of fact, the Christmas light list that you could print from our website was one of the most downloaded pages of our website all year. We had a hometown Christmas, which was held downtown, and a big tree lighting at the new city administration building. That was a welcome addition to the holiday season. And now we're in the new year. With the new year comes the same topics. Just kidding. It's kind of funny. I was sitting there talking to my 10-year-old daughter the other day. It was New Year's night. And as we were celebrating the ball dropping, she goes, "Oh, great." This is from a 10-year-old, mind you. She goes, "Oh, great. Now everyone's going to be doing the new year, new me kind of thing." But not us, not here at Xenia Word on the Street. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing for the last 7 years, which is providing all local online content for our community by our community. And this podcast today is no different. So let's talk about parking. A couple weeks ago, I was online and just happened to come across a online thread on Facebook about downtown parking. What piqued my interest was some conversations online about people being ticketed for parking downtown. Those of us who have lived in the community for a given amount of time know that there's been no parking meters in most downtown for many years, with the exception of a few around the city hall and the courthouse, for reasons to keep traffic flowing around those government institutions. But for the rest of downtown, along Main Street and Detour Street, on-street parking is free. What brought this attention to me was people were getting ticketed for parking too long downtown. And to be honest, I didn't know we had a limit downtown. I was speaking with those individuals online, and one of them was a shop owner downtown, was able to send me a letter which she received from the police department back in September. The letter was pretty formal letter, just reminding people that there was a 2-hour limit to park downtown and that the police department will start enforcing that limit effective in September of 2016. And in fact, they did. And in fact, several people who have received tickets for parking in one of the parallel parking spots along Detroit or Main Street for over 2 hours. And of course, as you can imagine, that kind of got under the feathers of the people who received the ticket and the people who own the shops. They don't want their clients to be afraid, their customers to be afraid to park downtown and get a ticket. So I'd done a little digging to figure out why. Why was the city all of a sudden enforcing something that it had not really enforced very well before? And what I uncovered after a brief conversation with the city manager's office is that there have been some complaints. Whereas some downtown business owners are complaining about the parking limit, others are supporting it. Others are supporting it because they have the type of business that people will come and go more frequently and not stay 2 hours. And they depend on those parking spaces in front of their buildings for their clients or customers to come, do their shopping, and leave. Maybe it's the convenience store, the tobacco shop. Maybe it's one bistro for lunch. Any of the Democratic headquarters or the other shops down there. So the city is kind of in this unique position, the city government is, where some shop owners are complaining about enforcing the parking limit, and others are complaining that they're not enforcing it. But at the end of the day, what the government has to do is enforce the laws on the books. So this brought up some debate online. One of the debates I wanted to kind of just rumors is that some people online saying that there's no signs posted. And doing what I did, I went online, looked over Google Maps, and then went down there also. And there are signs posted. There's about 3 or 4 signs, at least 3, on the streets where those limits are imposed. 3 on each side of the street. There is, with one exception, though, down on the corner where Rusty and Chippy's Boutiques is, there is several parking spots that you can park in, 3, maybe 4, that you will not see from any one of those parking spots a 2-hour parking limit. That is the exception. But for the most part, there are limits. In fact, one of the people that reached out to me who received a ticket complained because she received a ticket while she was parked in front of Blue Jacket Bookstore. And I checked, and there in fact is a 2-hour parking limit sign right in the same parking space that she was parked in. I've never noticed them before, and I've been downtown lots. So I don't know how new they are. They've been up for some time. They've been up long enough where Google Maps actually picked up on it. So, and just judging by the Google Maps and what stores are downtown, those signs have been up for well over months to years. Regardless of that, ticketing, once we set aside the rumors that it's illegal or not legal, there is a 2-hour parking limit downtown. So the question is 2 hours enough? Now, if you're in a downtown business like the smoke shop, maybe flower stop, T-Lane Designs, you're probably not going to be in one of those single stores for 2 hours. Most might even say you couldn't spend 2 hours downtown in all the shops, but that's proven not to be the case. In fact, it's becoming pretty typical that people will go to lunch at Table of Contents and then shop the bookstore and the other little shops located within Blue Jacket Books and easily spend 2 hours there, especially if you're getting your hair done in that salon. I myself have parked downtown much longer than 2 hours when I'm getting a tattoo there at Totem. So there are businesses that can keep you downtown for longer than 2 hours, even multiple hours, 4 or 5. So there's reasons for it. There's reason that you could be there that long. That got me thinking, if I am going to be spending that long downtown, would I park on the street or would I find one of the parking lots and park where there is no limit? And that brings me to the point. I travel quite a bit. And the 2-hour limit, whatever your opinion of that is, the thing that we have to take note of is that there is ample free parking downtown. The on-street parking plus the parking lots are all free, which is pretty uncommon in any downtown district. Not only is there free parking, there's quite a bit of it. And this is always a debate online. I kind of am a little amused by. There's always people saying there's not enough parking downtown. With the exception of the large events like the festival or something, there is normally plenty of parking in one of the 2 or 3 parking lots plus the on-street parking. And that's not even taking into account Xenia Town Square. I've never went downtown and not been able to park. I've spent several hours downtown and always been able to find a parking space. When I go to the theater to watch a show with my wife, we're there for a couple hours and I can find a parking space. When I go to the Totem Tattoo, never a problem. If I have to go to the courthouse or city hall, which I haven't been to in a long time, I've never had a space there either. It does bring up the debate that the new city administration building that was built there on the corner of Main Street and Whiteman did, by all intents and purposes, first glance, take up parking spaces that the general public could have used. But the reality is that there was 70-some spaces there before the building was built, and there's still about that now because just the way that the city hall was positioned and the new lot was paved, there's plenty of parking. Now, admitting that some of those parking spaces are now listed as 30 minutes, so you can run in and pay your water bill or something and come back out. But the parking spaces after hours are wide open. City Hall is really only are open. City Administration Building is really only open until maybe 5 p.m., so the lot is available. City employees are not taking the spots on the street or the spots in the parking lot itself because the city employees now have a parking lot that is actually off of behind the post office and bank there. There's a city lot that's been recently repaved, and they're parking back there and walk to City Administration Building. This was true when the City Hall was used for the City Administration. Most city employees parked across from the YMCA next to the senior citizen and walked in. They rarely ever took parking spaces downtown. Again, is 2 hours enough? Typically, when I record these, I have an opinion one way or the other on the topic. Sometimes I have a rather firm opinion. This time, though, as I'm reading through the comments online and the emails between city staff and myself, and as I was researching this, I don't think I have an opinion one way or the other. Yeah, I don't want to see anyone get a parking ticket, and I would be frustrated, too, to receive a parking ticket, but just trying to shop downtown. But as long as I know there's a 2-hour limit, and I know that I'm going to spend more than 2 hours there, or even a chance to spend more than 2 hours there, I would park in the parking lot and walk. The parking lot from any business downtown is not very far. Granted, it's not right in front of the store, but I've for sure parked further at the mall in Beaver Creek or at the Walmart here in Xenia and walked in to do just normal day-to-day shopping. As for the shop owners, now I'm not a downtown business owner. For a fact that some like the limit and some do not. I know for a fact that there's a kind of a beef or gripe among some shop owners that other business owners take up the parking spaces in front of their store. That's something that they're going to have to work out amongst themselves in their little community. I will have to say, though, that I think having a downtown business and having parallel parking on the street and parking lots that are not directly attached to your building It's part of the culture of having a downtown business. No matter if that downtown is Xenia or Chicago, no matter if that downtown has 1 stop sign or 4 stoplights. It's just part of the culture of doing the business downtown. There is something to say, though, that if the city doesn't have to enforce it, then enforcing it would help downtown businesses like Blue Jacket Books, where customers do spend multiple hours there. Then if they don't enforce it, it hurts the other businesses who really just want to allow their customers to pull up, run in, grab what they need, and run out. Again, the on-street parking in every downtown I've ever been to has rarely been free like it is in Xenia, and it's always been limited. It's designed to allow people to get access to the stores and leave, not to spend hours. And of course, that is just my 2 cents. Thanks for tuning in, Xenia, and I will talk to you next week.
This has been the Xenia's Word on the Street podcast. Please like and share us on Facebook at facebook.com/XeniaWord. You can also find us on iTunes and Google Play, and as always, be sure to visit XeniaWord.com for the latest news, events, and views from our community.